Okay. I'm going to keep you all through your coffee for another hour. No. Given the time of day, we need to also try and add some optimism into the proceedings of the afternoon. So we'll start off by trying to do that. Can everybody hear me without the mic?
Yes.
Yes? Yes. The times I'm going to need to do this because I walk around and there's no radio mic. So.
Have the interpreters started without your mic?
Oh, God, no.
So, sound translation is here from the mic.
Okay. So, right. Here we go. Who are interface? We make carpet tiles. So, the first thing I normally do is explain what a carpet tile is. It's a 50 centimetre square of carpet. If you live in or work in an office above the 3rd floor, you probably sit on them in your office. So that's carpet tiles. They are nylon on the front, the piece that you walk on. They are thermoplastic, which is code for PVC on the back, with several layers. It's an engineering textile. It's 3 layers on the floor. Okay. 20 years ago, this is how we made carpet. It's not too different now. We convert oil into carpet tiles. It is traditionally the old take, make, waste model. Oil wells, carpet factories, landfill. That's what happens to carpet, not just carpet tiles, all carpet. Most textiles, in fact, still go into a landfill. Now, what I'm going to do now is show you a couple of slides which give us a little bit of background to interface and sort of explain why I'm standing here. Doug, where do I point this to? Ah. Anybody familiar with the Globe Scan survey? One person. This is an annual survey of about 800 sustainability professionals around the world, asking them who is actually making a difference and doing something in the sustainability space. It's been going for 20 years. Coincidentally, our story about becoming a sustainable business is 20 years old. 20 years ago, this was not fashionable. It was not even interesting. You were a lunatic if you were talking about it. However, we have been in the top 8. What? We have been in the top 8 of the companies that come out of this survey for the entire 20-year history of the survey. Now, the significant thing about this is look what happened in 2009. All the companies except us that were in it dropped off and a new bunch appeared. And this sort of sums up the problem. This is a long haul. You don't fix this problem by dropping in and out of your profitability changes. We had very little money in 2009, but we stayed with it. And that's what this is about. Our founder, Ray Anderson, who was part of the introduction, summed it up as a mountain to climb. Everything that we make, use, we throw in a landfill. What are we going to do about that? And he split it up into 7 manageable facets of that mountain. Underpinning the whole thing is about getting your entire business engaged in what you're trying to do. It's actually front number 6, but it underpins everything you do. If you've got 3,000 people, you need 3,000 people working on this. Not 3 people at the top, or 2 people in HR, 5 people in technical. It needs to be everybody. You then have a whole raft of numbers, measure everything, you measure it, publish it, be transparent about it, and then progressively fix it. And then right at the top, understanding that the current model cannot go on, you need to redesign what we do. Somewhere or another, you've got to redesign the business model that makes your company or your community, city, or your country. Eventually, we will have to do And this was the mission that we set ourselves 22 years ago, to get to 2020 and have a completely neutral impact on the environment. And bear in mind what I said on the first slide, we are converting oil products. And we're trying to be neutral by 2020. So, here we talk about the measurements in the middle. How far have we got? It's taken us 20 years, we have made some progress. Energy use is down. We're converting to renewable energy, greenhouse gas emissions are down dramatically on our plants because we've just ended some processes. Water intake, we're down to what it takes for people to work. Recycled bio-based materials, waste to landfill almost gone, carbon impact half. And we can see where we can get to by 2020. So in the next 4 years, these projects to close the gap to the point that we're disclosing here are already in the works. That's where we'll be. And it's without using the carbon offset at the end to just wipe it all out. It's about really doing so. And these figures are published openly every year. Sometimes they go backwards in order to go forward, but they're published every year. Right, this is the picture of Ray. And there is a fantastic quote, which is where we fit now to the point of the conference. And he talked in 1994 about mining all of the waste that was in the world. Harvesting yesteryear's carpets and petroleum-based products, converting, using sunlight as energy, zero scrap going to landfill, zero emissions into the ecosystem. And that is still what we're trying to do. What I'm going to show you now is the optimistic part of me that shows you what we've actually managed to achieve in China with the smallest factory in interface in the last 5 years. The principle is we can recycle carpet just like paper. It's a composite textile, but we can recycle it, and we want to recycle it just like paper. And so, classic closed loop diagram, it starts with new carpet tiles going to the site, old ones coming back, being split, material flow going one way, coming back here. This is the backing going back into new tiles, and the face yarn going off to turn back into nylon, either into engineering plastics or back into nylon yarn. And to show you that we're doing it, for those who want to see it, carpet tile backing, carpet tile yarn, reprocessed in tight sun, on its way to going back into carpet tiles in tight sun. Jumpsuit products. The carpet tile backing is converted into a new sheet of PVC, with fiberglass on, ready to go straight onto the carpet tile in our plant. So, moral to that is it's possible. We can do it, anybody can do it. You just need to be committed to closing that loop. So, what are the challenges? The first challenge with recycling, as a couple of people have mentioned, is actually to get the stuff back. It's the return goods flow. So, developing the process to do this is one step. The next step is how do you get enough material to create scale to get this to work? We have the added problem in that half of our competitors in China are using stuff in their product that we do not want to put in our product. So we can't take everybody's carpet tiles back. We've actually said we're only going to take ours back because it's the only way we can control the quality of the outgoing new material. Another challenge. So how do we get the stuff back? So, 4 steps. Site recovery, this could be anywhere in China. The freight to get it back, recycle, reprocessing, and then manufacture of the new product. The first one is actually very easy. The people that take the old carpet tile up, ready to put the new one down, instead of throwing it into a skip on the ground floor, they just neatly put it onto pallets. It costs nothing apart from organisation, and then the product's ready to go back. Freight in China is expensive. This is a problem. I'll jump that for a moment. Recycling, there is a cost here. There's an energy cost and process cost to split recycling. But you have an offset in that you offset virgin materials in the new product, and you also have some other materials that you can get a value. The nylon goes away somewhere else for a small value. So these two parts at the bottom are a wash. They commercially come out neutral. The piece at the top is cost-free, if properly organised. The freight's a challenge. How have we dealt with that? Guys, the only way to deal with that is to step off the cliff. What we say to our customers, if you're going to replace this with one of our products, we will pay the freight back to take something. And we reverse our goods flow. And it costs us money. But there is no other way right now with $30 oil to make this work. At $100 oil, we can get it to work. There's the commercials. But if we do not work on getting that flow back, we can't run the process. So, where are we now with Reentry, as we call it? This is taking our old product back into new. We have diverted 800 tons of stuff from landfill and incineration. We've saved $1 million RMB in disposal costs, which we've flowed back into the system, offset some of those freight costs. And we now have a backlog of material in China, in our plant, ready to go back into our new product. And we have customer acceptance. This year we will probably produce 30% of our output with recycled material on the back. And all we've got to do now is persuade even more customers to send us back their old cars. Here's a picture of the shed. This is recycled PVC chrome waiting to be turned into sheet to go into new carpet tiles in China. This is not moving stuff around, this is made in China, sold in China, used in China, reprocessed in China, ready to be used again in China. Now, let's talk about dispersed materials, because this is the next step. All we're doing here is we're just recycling our own rubbish. Dispersed materials. I took 50 of our staff last September to the Yangtze River. Don't ask me where we were, I have no idea. We were on a seawall in a violent thunderstorm, and we did a beach clean. Because the weather was so bad, we spent 1 hour, 50 people, 1 hour on a seawall at low tide. Low tide, rain stopped, families on the mud, we're picking up trash. Anybody want to take a guess how much trash we got out of the seawall in 1 hour? 500 kilos. Half a ton. We got half a ton of trash out of that seawall in 1 hour with 50 people. Mind blowing. The vast majority of it was plastic, glass, and metal. There was other rubbish in there as well. But most of it was reusable material of some sort. Now, that just shows you what's just going into the environment. And it was normally you would sort this and you put it in the bag. Because of the weather, we couldn't do that, so it went away and it was sorted and used, for which we have the stats. But 500 kilos in 1 hour with 50 people. And it's just on the seawall. It wasn't in the water anymore, it was on the seawall. These are fishing nets. Commercial fishing nets. Commercial fishing nets are made from the same nylon polymer as the base of this. Exactly the same. Nylon 6 polymer, or vast majority. The average commercial fishing net only lasts for 1 year, 1 to 1.5 years. And then it has to be discarded or replaced. That's if it doesn't get snagged and fall off the fishing boat into the ocean. Around the globe, 640,000 tonnes of fishing gear falls off fishing boats into the sea or is discarded every year. The ultimate dispersed material for us. Now, inspired by us, our nylon yarn vendor here developed a process to repolymerize this and turn it back into carpet. And they have set up a network to recover the commercial nets that end up on the dock every year around the world. And so that product there is made from 100% post-consumer nylon, the largest source of which is this stuff. But actually that's not the real problem, because that's commercial. You can go down to a dock and buy that stuff. The real problem is the stuff that ends up in the ocean as ghost fishing. Discarded nets can keep fishing, but nobody's pulling out what it catches. And this is just a bad picture that I picked up by Doug on the diver. This is track to sea. So, there is another way that we've come up with to deal with this. So this is a short video. And it takes the dispersed material discussion a step further and says, you know, what can we do to improve environments along the way with this? It's a short video, very short.
Networks is a programme that Interface has developed with the Zoological Society of London and our other partner, Aquafil, who is a fibre supplier to Interface. The programme takes discarded fishing nets from coastal communities and arranges the recycling of those fishing nets back into carpet fibre that we can use in our modular flooring.
What we're doing with networks is creating a new and innovative and practical example of an inclusive business model. Groups from the communities go out into the environment, collect nets off the beaches or from the sea, and they get nets from the fishers at the end of life, so preventing them from getting into the environment in the first place. As a group, the community then sell the nets into a global supply chain, and they are regenerated into nylon yarn that can then be used to make some very beautiful products, such as Interface's carpet tiles. What we want to do with networks is ensure that as much of the value of the nets is retained within the community in order for the communities to benefit as much as possible.
I always believe that you can do business at the same time contributing for very serious objectives like cleaning the oceans of marine life. So it's not a charity, this is an enterprise, a social enterprise.
Developing inclusive business is not about philanthropic giving. We're doing this to demonstrate that there is a better way of doing business. And Networks is genuinely inclusive in that respect.
Even with the very devastated situation, people were not hopeless.
We have a strong spirit. We believe in, we call it bayanihan. It's how we volunteered ourselves if one member in the community needed our help.
The resilience of the people in the Philippines has been amazing. The infrastructure that we designed for taking fishing nets out of the villages, they reversed so that they could use to bring aid into the villages.
One of the things I find really interesting over the last year is seeing the way that the people are responding to the programme. What we expected to find after the earthquake was that the volume of nets being collected would reduce as people's priorities change and they focus on trying to rebuild. But what we actually found was that in some communities, net collection actually appeared to increase. So some people were turning to nets as a way of supplementing their livelihoods during that period, which says a lot about the resilience of the model.
Success for me for the Networks programme, having now established that the initial programme is viable, is to expand that beyond. to also influence the broader manufacturing community to explore inclusive business opportunities in their supply chain.
It's a huge achievement to have got to where we've got to, and to be able to sit here today and look around at all the huge quantity of nets that are here and realise the amount of work that's actually gone into that. I think it's been a huge success.
So the real point here is that whatever we do to reprocess what we're making today is one small part of the problem, given the mess that we're already in. So in addition to dealing with what we're making today, we have to address what's already out there and has been put out there for the last 20 years. Otherwise it's pointless. So, to wrap up, where do we end? So I showed you the typical carpet tile, which is the standard makeup right at the start. And this is where we are now. We've got face yarn from fishing nets. We have a primary backing, which is recycled PET. A lot of talk about that. There's 4 drink bottles in every square metre of carpet tile. We've reduced the amount of polymer in the backing by filling it with filler, which is waste from the ceramics industry. And then on the very back, we put in our own recycled backing. We don't do it on every square metre of tile because we haven't got enough stuff yet to do it, but we're trying. Significantly, the step off the cliff that goes with this in the company is this. We don't only guarantee the performance of the product, we guarantee to take it back when the customer's finished with it. And the deal is, you replace it with our stuff, we pay the freight. If you don't, you have to send it back. But we will reprocess it, reuse the materials, and stop it going to landfill or incineration. And if one thing that any company can do with any product to demonstrate their commitment in this space, especially with plastics, which are inherently, I would disagree with Mike, I'd say plastics are easy compared to some of the stuff in this world. Plastics are easy. Why we are still using PVC on the back of our carpet tile, we would rather not, but PVC recycles easily. And we can go on using it time and time again, therefore we can't find anything better. So this is, we believe, the future of manufacturing. Okay, and the end result is what we have demonstrated to our customers is that we can win awards for design, create beautiful products, and have 80% recycled content. It's not all PC, still a lot of it's PI, but it's a combination of the two. We've got some products that are approaching 40% PC and about 45% PI. So, it's progress. Not the end of the story, but it's optimism, I hope, in what can be a depressing conversation if you're not careful. I want to leave you with a little bit of reading matter. Yeah? So, suggested booklets to wrap up. These 2 books have been a large part of the inspiration of the interface story for 20 years. The first one is by Paul Hawken, The Ecology of Commerce, goes to the very heart of how you are commercial, manufacturing, and still take care of the environment that we live in. Really, really was the first guiding light that Ray Anderson picked up 20 years ago. The second one came along later, but is nonetheless still hugely important. It's by a lady called Jenny Benyus, American lady, who talks at length about how to copy the principles of nature in designing products and designing product systems to avoid doing damage. Nature wastes nothing, nature does not cause harm to its own environment. It's only human beings. And And there's a lot you can learn by looking at what nature does in this space. So, want to learn a bit about the stuff, read those 2 books, and they are both translated into Mandarin. You can get them. So, that's it. You want more about us? Just check us out. We chat way more. Interface. Patrick, thank you very much.
Quick question, otherwise we can ask them. There's one in the back, and then we'll have a free coffee break.
Hey, my name is Carmen. I'm from Green Initiatives, and I have a question about quality. Something that I haven't quite heard today is the quality of the recycled material. Is it possible for one?
There is a residue still. So we, of an old tile coming back, depending on how badly soiled it is, we're getting between 80 and 86% recovery of something. And the balance has to be dealt with. The balance is typically inert. It's a mixture of fiberglass fibers, some PET, and a bit of filler. And so it's inert and it's reasonably easy to deal with. But we do not put it into landfill. We use it as a filler in another process in another industry. So it displaces something that we don't have at the moment.
Does that mean that you will always have to add new material to keep? If you would produce exactly the same amount of tiles, does that mean that you have to keep adding materials to keep producing the same amount of tiles? Because you don't.
If we have a process in the US, so what we're using here in China is our generation 1 reback technology. Because we don't have the goods flow in order to invest in anything else. So once we've maxed that out, we can invest in generation 2, which takes 100% of the old tile and puts it all in. But right now, even if we had that, we couldn't keep it full. So it's a step-by-step approach. We already have that technology in the US, where we've got a business that's 20 times the size of the one we have in China. But we've designed the process around the fact that some places we need perfectly clean material for the yarn. That has to be clean before it can be repolymerized. The backing does not. We use a different process for the recycled PVC as for the virgin PVC.
Thank you very much.
More questions over coffee. Get some caffeine, because you've still got a lot to do.